Hi, this is Cooking Can Be Fun with Eldene. Today I'm making a basic pie crust. One of the main things to remember when making a pastry is to keep the ingredients as cold as possible. Some people keep the flour in the refrigerator for that, however I don't. I do use ice water and butter. Right here I have 1½ cups of flour and 1½ teaspoons of sugar and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. The recipe calls for 5 tablespoons of butter. I divide that into thirds. I use 2/3 at first, and I use these 2/3 and use a pastry blender and cut it until it is like cornmeal. This is 2/3 of the butter. I like to slice it into slices to make it easier to work with the pastry cutter, and then it makes it go a lot easier than working with one large clump. I have this cut into the size of cornmeal. Now I will use the remaining 1/3 of butter and cut it, and then I will cut it with a pastry cutter until it is the size of small peas. The next thing we'll do is add the ice water. Here I have 5 to 6 tablespoons of ice water mixed with 1/4 teaspoon of vinegar, and I will add 1 tablespoon of water. You sprinkle it over the top. You will use a fork and sort of toss it around, and you know that you're going to need more than 1 tablespoon, so then you will add a second tablespoon. You add the water 1 tablespoon at a time. At this point I'm adding the 5th tablespoon of water, and it looks almost ready but not quite right, so I'm going to add 1 more, which would be 6 tablespoons. But you really can't tell because the humidity has a lot to do with how much you add. Once you think you have added the proper amount where it's moist but not, you don't want too much water or it will not be a good crust. But this one looks like it's perfect right now. And you stir it with a fork and try to get all the dry pieces into the pastry. Now I'm going to place the dough into a ball with my hands. I've moved the pastry onto the pastry cloth that's been prepared. At this point you try to handle it as little as possible, but you want to form it into a round shape to make it easier so when you roll it out. Then to flatten it, you'll use the sides of your hands going both directions like this, and that's to flatten it. Then you take the prepared rolling pin and you go from the center out and up in all 4 directions. And you want to make this into a circle, a round circle that is 1/8 inch in thickness. Now I have rolled this out until it's about 14 inches in diameter. At this point we will place the pie crust onto the dish that is going to go in. And to do that, you place the rolling pin on one edge and you use the pastry cloth and you roll it like this. Then you place the pie plate underneath it, and you want to place it so you have excess hanging over the edge. Then you carefully, very carefully unroll. At this point you want to start at the center and you sort of lift up an edge so you can push it all to the center to give it so it won't shrink on you too much. You push, and then you on the edges you place it like this, and you're always pushing toward the center, and this prevents shrinking of the edges. So many people say that when they finish they have no crust because it has really shrunk too much. At this point you use a pair of scissors and you cut about 1/2 from the very edge of the pie, and you go all the way around, just imagining what 1/2 inch is. There's one part of the pie crust that didn't come out quite right, so you can take part of the left pie crust that you cut off and you can press it into that edge, and you can just get a size just approximately the size that you need. Then you take the scissors and you cut that section 1/2 inch from the edge. then again you'll sort of be sure that it's cut together, and when it's finished it won't show at all. At this point you will turn the edges under where you have cut it until it makes a ridge, and you do that all the way around the pie. From the edge, keep it very, very straight, and this makes a very important difference in the final shape of the pie. To make it even, use your fingers, your 2 index fingers, and make it even with the edge all the way around the pie. At this point, the pie crust could be used just as it is, but most people, to make it prettier, like to do the fluting. And to do the fluting of the edges, you would dip your fingers in flour and shake off the excess. Use the index finger of the right hand and the thumb and index finger of the left hand, and you come in and you start forming a shape, and you continue making this shape until you go all the way around the pie. This is the way the pie looks after it's fluted. At this point, you will have to make a choice if you're going to use this pie crust for a cream pie or for something like a pecan pie or something runny. If it's going to be used for a cream pie, such as a coconut pie, you would stick a fork into flour and prick all the inside so it wouldn't puff up. And you would bake it before you'd place the filling in. And at that time you would place it into a preheated 450 degree oven for 12 to 15 minutes. At this point you could also freeze it and use it at a later date. If you're going to use it for a pecan pie, you would leave it just like it is and place the pecan filling in and then bake it. After it comes out of the oven, place it on a pie rack and let it cool for about 20 minutes. This is our finished product. Thank you. This has been Cooking Can Be Fun with Eldene. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Cooking Can Be Fun with Eldene. Bye.